What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast.
If you want to be successful, look inside.
We don't like sitting in the discomfort.
Then all of a sudden that day came when I got $20 and 2 free drinks to do a show, and I was like, oh shit, here we go, baby. You know?
Thank God she hasn't caught a chicken yet because she'll tear her head off.
Don't be soft.
That patience is key.
If all my friends are winning, then it's going to make me want to win more.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have a very special guest. This man has been one of my favorite guys to watch growing up since I was a kid. He is an NFL athlete, tremendous person. He is a Hall of Famer. Guys, please help us welcome the one and only Brian Urlacher. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, man, and I appreciate you coming on, man. It's definitely an honor to be able to talk to you, get to know you, and see how everything's going for you today, man. So I really appreciate that.
No problem. Looking forward to it. I've been doing so much Zoom stuff with everything going on. It's so much easier now. I never would have done it before because everything's on the phone or in person. Now it's just so much easier to jump on a Zoom call and get this stuff done.
Yeah, we were talking about that too when we started the podcast. We were like, man, with as shitty of a situation as it's been for so many people, for us, like starting the podcast has been great because we've been able to, get in front of and have a bunch of people on like yourself. It's been, a tremendous opportunity for us and for the podcast and our listeners as well. So again, one more time, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
For sure, man.
It's been it's been crazy to think like, I used to watch you absolutely annihilate people, in the backfield, across the field. No one ran a drag route on you.
We were good on defense, man. We had a bunch of good players on defense. We what we did is we got to the football, man. We had a lot of guys who ran to the football because if you didn't run, you weren't going to play for Lovey. So we had guys that ran to the football every single play, whether we screwed up or not. We were going to have 11 guys at the football.
Yeah, and you played in a Super Bowl down here, right? The Super Bowl you played was down here. How?
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
Would you say the rain had a huge factor?
No, the way we played had a big factor in it. Our defense shit the bed that game. I'll take sole responsibility. It was our defense. We didn't play well that game. Peyton played pretty well. Devin runs the first kickoff back of the game. 90-something yards, whatever it was, 98 yards. And then we didn't do well after that. But it was just our defense. We gave up 450 yards, 200 yards rushing. Should have played better. The rain didn't affect them, so it shouldn't have affected us either.
Do you come from a big football family? Like do you have brothers or did your dad play?
Well, my mom didn't play either, actually. my dad didn't play. No, I have an uncle that played in college a little bit up in Washington. My brother played after I played. I'm the oldest brother, but no, it wasn't a big deal growing up. Pretty athletic family, but nothing really. We weren't big. I'm sorry. The rest of my family is not very big. I'm the biggest in my family, but I think my dad was like 5'11", 6 feet. My uncle's probably 6 feet. My brother's 6 feet. So I'm the odd one out there. 6'4", 250. I'm the guy that outgrew everybody.
That lucky for you.
No doubt. Yeah.
Sounds like my brother.
I could run a little bit too.
Yeah, I used to always tell my mom like you can. I mean, my dad's like 5'8". I was like, you couldn't find anyone just like a smidge taller.
That doesn't matter. My dad was like 5'11". My mom's 5'9". So it's not like they were tall. My grandpa may have been like 6'1", so it may have been where it came from. But my sister is a 6 footer as well. So we're both tall. My brother's 6 foot.
I'm glad I'm even 5'8.5", 5'9", because you hear the side of my dad's family. My grandma's 4'11", my grandpa's 5'5".
Cuban, yeah, can't be.
You're a giant, bro.
Yeah. And my brother, I don't know where my brother came out being 6'2" almost. I'm like, I don't know where that came out of nowhere.
Prosperity, America.
It's hard to predict how tall people are going to be. That's weird.
Exactly.
So, how's everything been for you? Since you retired. I mean, obviously you made it into the Hall of Fame, which, congratulations.
2018,
I want
baby.
to say that to your face.
Exciting. Yeah.
What an incredible thing to be able to do. I mean, to work so hard, your entire, since probably you were 5, I'm sure you started playing football. How was that feeling for you? Like standing up there, and getting to see your bust and give that speech,
bro. The whole, just getting ready, you're up there in front of all the people in the stadium, mind you, and then everyone who's watching, you think there's a lot of people watching on TV. I'm assuming there is. It's just stressful because you work on your speech. You know, we had about 5 or 6 months to work on our speeches, and I just didn't want to screw up or leave anybody out. And I did. I let people out because we only had a certain amount of time to get people in. But it's such a cool experience to get there. You know, I didn't play this game to get to the Hall of Fame. I played because I love football. It was, man, I enjoyed going to work every day. It was a blast. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. I love being in the facility, working out, just hanging out with the equipment guys, the trainers. I like being in the facility. But to end up in the Hall of Fame, and you know, that's the culmination right there. That's the highest you can get for a football player. So I was pretty happy with that. But my speech, I just left a couple people out there that I didn't mean to, but time, I didn't want to see. I was worried about cutting into the guys' time behind me. I was trying to be respectful of their time, and I should have just done whatever the hell I wanted to do. That's what afterwards, looking back, I should have done what I wanted to do because everyone else did.
Well, I think regardless, everybody out there still knows that you appreciate them and love them, whether they were mentioned or not. I know that they still know that.
Well, the people I didn't mention can understand what they mean to me. You're exactly right, Anthony, when you say that, because they understand what they mean to me. I don't have to go up there and talk about them for them to know what they mean to me in my life. So you're right about that.
So going into the after part of your career, how was that when you left football? Like, what was that next step for you? Like, what was that thought process with it? Like, let me start a business with it. Let me enjoy my retirement. I know you were on Fox Sports as an analyst as well. So how was that?
6 months, yeah. It was different, you know, because I'm a routine guy. So, you know, football is very routine. For those who have played it, you know, any part of their lives or even professionally, you get up, you work out, you go to practice, you eat, you go to bed. And that was my routine for 13 years. Even in college, the same thing. You know, you go to class, you go to practice, blah, blah, blah. But, man, once I retired, that routine was over with. I was like, oh, shit, now what? You know, because you don't have a plan. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm going to hang out with my kids. I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to, you know, not miss any of their stuff anymore. Because the weekends, my son played football. I missed all of his games because we had games as well. Same with my daughters, their soccer games, stuff like that. But it was hard at first just to get a different routine. You know, I tried to work. Fox was a blast. The guys I worked with were amazing, but I'm just not. At that time, I wasn't really a TV guy. I didn't like going on there. And it's hard to be honest on TV. You know, because I know as a player, I didn't like it when guys talk shit about me because they didn't know what I was going through off the field, at home. Right. If I was hurt, they had no idea. So who were they to talk about me? So I didn't want to be that guy. So I got away from that pretty quickly. But after about the first 2 years, I settled in. You know, I started mountain biking, which I absolutely love. And also got a road bike too, which is dangerous because there's so many damn cars out there. But I've always golfed. I've always liked to fish down there in Florida where you guys are at. But and my kids are pretty old. They're a little bit older now. They're 15, 16, and 20. So they keep me busy as well. So we've got a pretty nice routine going now for us.
That's great. You get down here often to fish?
As much as I can, Josh. I love it down there, man. I may come probably 15 times a year.
Oh, nice.
And, you know,
Great.
there's my favorite thing to do is get offshore fishing. We'll go 120 miles offshore. And your phone doesn't work. You got nothing. You know, hopefully nothing goes wrong out there. But, you know, we got the music turned up. We eat, we drink, and we have fun. My kids love to fish, too. So it's great. You know, we'll get out there, get all sunburned and come back with a shit ton of fish and just have fun out there.
Now you're gonna make me want to go fish this weekend.
I know. I haven't been in quite a while. I grew up right off of Lake Ontario, so I grew up my whole life fishing. So that's pretty cool to hear that you get to do that with your kids.
Deep sea fishing is a different animal. You know,
yeah, no, freshwater is completely different. Yeah, completely
yeah, because
different.
You know, in the ocean, every time my bait hits the bottom, something's pulling on it. I mean, I catch it, but something's gonna bite that damn hook pretty quick. So it's just it's fun. It's different. You never know what you're gonna pull. You may catch one fish to start out and pull another one in because I might eat that one on the way.
True, yeah.
I gotta ask you because you're a strong guy. How strong are those fishes?
Oh, they're rough, bro.
They're pretty damn strong.
They're rough.
If you get them on the right pole, you can handle most of them. But, man, if you get a big boy, you get a 50, 60-pound grouper on a little spinner, you're in for a fight if you catch them at all. Or an amberjack or a cobia, you know, you get those big boys on there. It's a good fight. A permit, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, even like where I'm from, like we have a lot of like small and largemouth bass and pike. Like you get a big like three foot long pike. Like they'll pull. Yeah, you're in for a ride.
Yeah, I've seen some of the fishes
I love it, man. It's a blast.
Do you hunt too at all, or you just fish mostly?
No, I haven't been. I'll shoot some birds, some pheasants, you know, dove every once in a while. I'm just not a big hunter. The big game, all my uncles hunt. I'll go with them. I just can't pull the trigger, man. I feel
No.
so bad for those deer. I'm a big baby when it comes to that. I think they're so cute. I just can't do it. I'll eat them. I'm not.
It's the best meat, venison. Sorry,
it's like
PETA,
all
but
about
Like you,
eating. I
you,
just can't,
you guys take them
can't
out.
shoot 'em.
I'll just eat it.
yeah,
That's right. I'm your guy that takes care of the food.
that's great.
Man, love that.
Yeah.
And how about your kids? Like, now that you're involved more with it, you're spending more time with it. How's that changed? Like, what are some of the things you do now with your kids? Especially, I know you mentioned even after this, you're gonna pick up your girls. You said, right?
Yeah, my daughter's, and she's a sophomore in high school. So yeah, it's just being around more is the main thing. I don't have a lot of pull on my time, which is great. So I have a daughter who's a sophomore at KU. She gets straight A's. She doesn't play sports. It's great. She's just super smart. My middle daughter, Riley, she's a sophomore in high school down here. Super athletic. She tore her UCL a couple years ago. She's recovering from that still, but she's a beast.
Yeah.
And my son is a freshman, and he plays football.
Oh, nice.
What position?
Just trying to be around for them, and just be here and whatever they need. My son used to think I was an idiot when he asked me football questions, and now he's finally starting to realize I know just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So it's fun for him to bounce his questions off me. We have some good talks. Not about we'll talk about defenses, about coverages. He wants to know in-depth stuff, which I can appreciate as a guy.
That's awesome.
I like details as well.
What position does he play?
He plays corner, but he's not for long. He's too big. He started on the varsity as a freshman.
Okay.
He's going to grow out of corner really quick. He's 5'10", 170 right now.
Think safety.
That'll
He's
change.
putting on weight.
Yeah. He's
Sorry?
what, 13?
Safety maybe.
No, he's 15. Yeah, he's
15?
a sophomore.
Okay.
I'm sorry, freshman. Just, I get him all mixed up. But yeah, he's 15, and he's going to grow out. He'll probably be a safety, I would think, by the time he gets out of high school, just like I was.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you, what are some of the things, like, obviously, in football, you got, learning the plays, film. We got all the, the technical stuff that we learn in football. But what are some of the things that you teach your son that are good discipline stuff in life that are applicable to football? Because I'm sure, obviously, you've gone through a lot and you've been able to learn a lot and apply a lot into your game.
So here's the thing I always tell him. I don't care how you play. I don't care if you play good or bad, but you better play hard. If you're out there on the field, there's no place off. There's no relaxing. There's no, you're out there for a reason. I understand you're going to screw up. I screwed up too. Everyone screws up, but screw up full speed. That's the one thing I can't deal with. I can deal with mistakes because they're going to happen. I'm talking about physical, mental. I get it. But you better run today in football. I don't care what is going on any play. Your effort better be 1,000 miles an hour. And your attitude, those are two things you can control in football. That's it. Everything else, you don't know what's going to happen on the play. But your attitude and your effort, you can control that. And he's pretty good. He stays in the game pretty much, So I feel like I was mostly successful because, when the last play was over, I didn't care about it. Whether I sacked the quarterback, pick, missed the tackle, got ran over, I didn't care. That play was over. I'm on to the next play. Whatever happened, I'm good, bad, indifferent. Learn from it. Go on to the next play. That's why I feel like I was that next play mentality. Just you got the most important play in football is the next play, and I try and tell him that as well. It's not a great life lesson, but it's good on the football.
Sometimes, though. Sometimes it can be, I feel like.
Sometimes you get your ass in a bind, too. But it's
True.
much better
True.
on the football field than it is in life.
Do you think that that's just ingrained in you as as a person because of how much football you've played? Or is it something that, is kind of instilled in you from your family where it's just, we got to keep plugging along, blue collar type
I think a little bit of both, honestly. We didn't grow up the greatest childhood. My parents were amazing, but we didn't have a lot. We worked for everything we got. My parents did just as well as us kids. But, in football, same way. Everything you get in football, you work for. There are some guys who are pretty damn talented who can get away with it. But at some point, you're going to get exposed. So I think the more work you put in, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
So I'm sure you've come across a lot of that in the league, both in college and in NFL, where I'm sure you've seen a lot of talented guys who probably had the potential to be some of the best, and just because of that work ethic, it's not there.
Yeah.
Would you say that the work ethic does really outweigh at a certain point when you're in the league over the talent?
Yeah, so here's the thing I always – so Lance Briggs ran a 4.75 at the combine. Not great for a linebacker, not super fast, but Lance Briggs played at 4.5. Does that make sense?
Does, totally.
So when the ball was snapped, Lance could process information so damn fast and get to the football. He didn't run a 4.7 on Sundays, I'll tell you that much. He ran a 4.4 or 4.5 on Sundays. So just to be able to not just being athletic, but process information is a big deal as well. However, Lance is the most instinctive guy I've ever been around. He saw the plays and he get dissected super fast. Didn't always go to the right spot, but my man was there in a hurry. So, but athletically, there's so many guys athletically who just can't cut it because things happen so fast out there. You've got to be prepared. And if you're pausing, you're not playing fast. So like I said, if you're running, not too many guys can run a 4.7 at the combine and play at 4.5. So that's a good thing. Play faster.
It's like they always say, right? You got your combine speed and you got your football speed, right?
You're exactly right. Because a lot of guys can run a 4.2 at the combine, but they play at 4.4. That's not good. I mean, 4.4 is pretty fast, but if you ran a 4.2, play a 4.2 in the game then.
Yeah.
Thinking the thinking part, people don't add that in there when you're running your 40.
In things like, I mean, we're gonna get a little technical here. I worked as an equipment manager at Syracuse when I was in college. So
nice.
Yeah, and I was always curious. I mean, I worked mostly with the offense, but I was always curious with like defense. And I mean, you're perfect to ask. You're talking about instinct and preparation. How much of like you going through pre-snap reads and like really coming up with like, okay, they're maybe going to like run the A gap or whatever. How much of that is in like watching game film and how much of it is just like you've been through this situation so many times in your life that you're just like, I have a feeling based off of the down and distance or whatever it is that they're going to run A gap.
Yeah, you got to take everything in consideration pre-snap. Obviously, down distance no matter what. You don't have to look at the sticks. You know how many yards they gain. Good football players know how many yards they gained every down. You don't look at the sticks. Down distance is a given. So I watched a lot of film early on in my career, and I would find myself guessing on Sundays. Does that make sense? I go out there, see a formation. Oh, this play's coming. Oh, shit, they didn't run that play. I was a step behind because I thought that this was going to happen. So I watched actually less film the older I got because – our defense was so simple that, you have a gap, you have a pass, whatever the situation is, you have a pass responsibility, but I felt I played better when I just reacted to what I saw. You always, every formation, they can only run a certain amount of plays out of, whether it's the A gap, power, toss, whatever, so I knew my job was every play. I knew what my key was, and my key took me to the football. So I keyed in on that, and whenever the ball was snapped, I tried. Early on in my career, I overran a bunch of plays because I got so excited. I would see a play like, I'm gone. Well, shit, I had to stop and run back in because I overran the play. So I tried to be patient because luckily I was pretty fast for my size, and I just had to be patient and kind of let the play develop a little bit and then try and make a play. But less film was better for me because I would actually rely on my instincts and what I saw to take me to the football.
Right. It's always something that, I was never like in the meeting room, so it was always something that I was always curious about, like how, at what point does it become counterproductive for you to just be like, they always hear like, oh, Brady's in the film room like all day, like Peyton, they're sleeping in there.
Quarterbacks are different.
Yeah, for them, I get it, right?
Different.
Because you got to know everybody, the position, what you guys are doing.
Same with middle linebacker, you have to know I knew what everyone else was doing on our defense, which is your job as well, but quarterback's much different. They're looking at a depth of a safety, a corner stance, maybe someone's tipping some, and there are tips on the offensive line as well. Right. But I don't want to pay attention to those tips because I'm going to play what I see. I mean, there may be a tip and it may screw me up a play or two, and I don't need that. But quarterbacks, different animals. Same with the center as well. They got to be on the same page. So a lot of times you get your quarterbacks and centers watching film together, so they know who to point out as the mic, what the safeties are doing here and there. So different story. I know Tom Brady busts his ass. That dude's in there.
Oh, monster! You don't win 7 Super Bowls.
There's a reason he's as good as he is, and he puts the time in. Obviously, he's gifted throwing the football, but up here, you're not going to find anybody better.
Yeah, it's incredible. 7 Super Bowls, fucking
it's amazing.
Insane.
So we were drafted the same year.
It's crazy.
Really? 2000? You were drafted 2000? Yeah. Wow.
Crazy. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Insane.
He's a badass.
Playing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I
remember playing at a high level.
Really.
They're like, so Brady, you coming back? Yeah, we're coming back.
Yeah, run it back.
Run it back.
Why wouldn't he? I mean, I think everyone on that team was pretty much coming back. They may lose a couple guys, but man, the team before. What they won the year before, 6 games.
Yeah, I think 7. They went 7
put him in pretty much the same team, except that Winfield, they drafted the rookie who was really good.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same team. And they won Super Bowl.
And they were trying to figure out during the season because there was moments that they weren't looking too hot.
Yeah,
first half
wasn't great.
Yeah, and then they got hot at the right time. Like you usually see that in the playoffs. The good teams, or at the end of the season, they get hot and they just roll through the playoffs. It's crazy.
Look what happened to Steelers. They were all hot all year, and then they just started losing like 4 or 5 games in a row.
I know. They looked unbeatable early on. They were like 11-0, and they went, 1-4 the last 5 games?
Yeah, something like that.
That was tough to watch.
It was crazy. I was thinking the team that was excited to watch too this year was impressed was the Bills. Seeing how far they got.
I love the Bills.
Yeah.
It's music to my ears,
Josh
man.
Allen's
That's
the man.
I'm a Dolphin fan, but
Okay, yeah.
I grew up going to Bills games and just watching them get fucking ass pounded with JP Lossman behind center and
I was gonna say,
no. This is back in the day. Back when this is like I remember I think like my first game this was when Bledsoe played for them. I was like, oh Jesus.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Drew was pretty good when he played there.
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, this was like towards the tail end of the Buffalo career for him, so I don't think I don't think it was so hot.
I went to the Bills playoff game 2 years ago versus Houston. So my linebacker coach, Coach Babich, who coached me my last 9 years in Chicago, is now the linebackers coach in Buffalo.
Oh, great.
So we went to watch them play against Houston when they got beat at the end of the game there 2 years ago. But huge Buffalo fan. Josh Allen's top 4 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion.
Did you got to play there? Did you like playing there in Buffalo? How was that for you?
I think I only played there once, and it was early, like 2001 or 2.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, no, my rookie year we played there when Flutie was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And we played there again in 2002, who the quarterback was. But, yeah, it's a neat – their fans are unbelievable.
Did you play in the cold?
The Bills Mafia.
I've been trying to tell him it's the best tailgate. It's the best tailgate in all of football.
I wouldn't know. I'll take your word for it. But, I mean, their fans are how about all the donations and stuff they do for other players and shit like that? That's phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, the Buffalo community is crazy when it comes to the Bills. It's
a small community. There's not a lot of people live in that town, and they love their Bills. I don't blame them. Right now, it's easy to be a Bills fan, too.
Yeah, for sure. Who was the team that you really, really hated? I mean, the Vikings seems like a pretty obvious one. But was there like an outlier who you were just like,
Green Bay
I guess Green Bay, right?
So obviously Green Bay was our biggest rival. Minnesota got there too at the end of my career because they were pretty good there for a while. But Green Bay, and all the teams in our division, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, we didn't like. Hate's a strong word, but we did not enjoy them very much. We, what's frustrating about Green Bay is they go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's pretty.
My 13 years, we have 22 different starting quarterbacks in Chicago.
I know you got to
2 in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Stupid.
You got to shit into the stick there, man.
It's not fair, man. It's not fair.
I gotta ask you something because I feel like I see this, and obviously, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of like very talented players coming into the league and even bigger and faster, but I don't know. I feel like there's this essence from football back in, especially when you're playing in your prime. Like, I just feel like it was different. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel that the game was just a different game.
Well, you could hit people.
It's different now. Well, you can't hit anymore, so it's different in that aspect. It's an offensive game these days. You don't see a lot of great defenses anymore. There are some really good defenses still, but you're not going to see a defense dominate. Well, I say that, but then look what Tampa Bay did in the Super Bowl.
True.
So let me see. Hold on.
Those 2 linebackers, man, they were all over the place.
Those dudes, Devin White can fly.
He's a monster.
He might play a 4-1. That guy's a beast. Anyway, and then their D linemen, Sue, Pierre-Paul, and Shaq Barrett, those dudes all went off in the Super Bowl. Anyway, it is a different game because the physicality aspect is much different now. With the hits, you may be a quarterback and not get hit all game long because of not just because guys are scared, but it's hard to get to the quarterbacks. And Brady, especially because the ball is gone like that. They know what you're running. The ball's out so fast. It's a different game. They don't spend as much time in the offseason together as we used to. Training camp, you can't really hit anymore. So just a different game than it was, 10, 12 years ago when I played.
Did training camp change a lot for you from like your rookie year to when you retired? Like, or was it kind of after that they kind of?
It was after. So we still had 2-a-days when at my last season, and I think they cut that out 2 or 3 years after I retired. Now they'll have a walkthrough and a practice, I think now. But we still had 2-a-days my whole career, which I can't imagine not going to training camp on every 2 days. So I would have loved to play in today's era. These guys are going to play for a long time. That's a good thing. I think
for sure
prolonging guys' careers is a good thing. But at some point, you got to get the work in during training camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How was it for you coming in to Chicago, right? Playing linebacker. I mean, when you think about Chicago and you think about the Bears, you think about all the great linebackers that they had.
Yeah.
How was it for you, having to come in, try, people probably expecting some big things from you, once you started to show some promise early in your career. And then, to be able to really come through for the city of Chicago like that and play at such a high level for such a long time.
Stick with them your whole career.
Yeah. Right. Phenomenal.
That's what I'm most proud of, Anthony. I played there 13 years and didn't go anywhere else. But what a great city to play defense in. Growing up, I wasn't a Bears fan. I was a Cowboys fan growing up in New Mexico. But I didn't know a lot about the Bears I didn't know about the history of their defense till I got there. I learned very quickly how important it is to be good on defense there. especially at linebacker. You know, I kind of shit the bed during my first training camp. They put me at Sam linebacker, so I didn't play Mike until week 2 of the season when our guy got hurt, and then coach threw me in there. But I was a Sam linebacker. I got beat out the second week of preseason by Roosevelt Colvin. He should have never been on he should have started the whole time. I was terrible at Sam. I just, Sam, you're on the line, you're jamming the tight end, and that's about it. You don't really get to run around. And I feel like I was a space guy. I need a space to be an athlete, this and that. But Rosie beat me out. Didn't start my first 2 games, and then Barry Minner got hurt at Tampa in the second quarter of our second game, and Coach Blosh says, go play Mike. I was like, I've never played Mike. I don't know what to do. He goes, just call the defense and run to the ball. And that's what I did, and I started every game after that. So but you look at the history of Bill George, Dick Butkus, Mike Singletary. There's so many great players that have played there, and not just the middle linebacker. All linebacker positions, Doug Buffone, Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall. I can go on. Lance Briggs. There's a ton of guys that have played there that come to the top of your head when you think about Bears football, Bears defense especially.
Oh, some of the best memories I have of football as a kid.
Including yourself.
I mean, dude, just watching you fly, like I said before, like when we started the podcast, like watching you fly around as a kid, like got me fucking hyped to be able to, go out there on my varsity team and be like, all right, well, I played middle linebacker, so I was like, all right, can I go and fucking crack some skulls, like, or am I gonna show out and am I gonna get freight trained? Like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna fly around. Yeah.
It was so fun, man. I feel like playing Sundays was a reward for with the work you put in during the week. So Sundays was fun as shit, man. And then win, lose, draw, we had fun out there on Sundays, man. We had a good time. We had some great guys out there. And we competed every week. We didn't always win. It wasn't always pretty, but we damn sure competed. Whoever was out there, they knew they were in a game because we were physical every year of my career. We had good players.
I'll never forget that in high school, because I remember you were always one of my favorite players. I'll never forget in high school, I wanted your number in my high school team. I got it. And I remember that I had gotten it, but this is what happened. It's crazy. I had gotten it for like a game or 2. And I remember that immediately brought in this guy who was older from they had moved him from like one of the top schools in Miami, and he wanted the number, took the number, and I was like, damn. Man. I got 50, and then I ended up getting 52. I got 52. I was like, all right, I'll get Ray Lewis. I was like,
that's
I'll
a
take that.
Number too. I wouldn't be mad about that. What's funny about my number is I didn't pick it. I showed up as a rookie, and I went to my locker, and there was 54. I was like, okay, here's my number. Yep. That was it. No decision to be made there. That's what I was.
No, that's awesome. And it's funny that you said that, because what's funny? I feel like now, every now and then, like a lot of people are very about like battling for the number when they go into like teams and stuff. But it's cool when you hear the stories from like some of the tops and greatest like yourself. You're like, hey, I just took the number and I made the number.
That's a good point. I was number 44 in college, and I couldn't wear 44.
It's a great number.
That was a great number.
That is a great number.
Sweet. My favorite number is number 11. That was
That's my favorite number. Number 7 and 11 are my 2 favorard numbers.
So he loves 7-Elevens because they're open late night.
Throwing the dice over there, I got you. I was 11 in high school. That wasn't, and when I got to college, a kicker had number 11, so I couldn't get number. He was
always a kicker.
Damn kickers.
The quarterback.
And then my sophomore year, I got number 44, and then I got to NFL. They just gave me 54, and that's what it was. That's what I stuck with.
That's pretty cool. It's funny because like you see a lot of time the college guys get their number in NFL if they're like
in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't a big-time college player. Plus, 44 would have been hard to, playing linebacker, you can't wear 44. Well, now you can, but back then you couldn't because I don't know why, because they told me I couldn't. That's why. Plus, we had Curtis Enos had number 44 my rookie year, so he was wearing it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, moving forward now, what are some of the things you got going on for you now? What are some of the new stuff you got maybe going for you? Are you doing anything special you got going on that you want to talk about? Definitely would love to jump into that, or anything with your family.
I'm chasing my kids around. They're finally, my youngest one's going to be driving soon, thank goodness. I'm like a Uber who doesn't get paid is what I do. I drive around all day, bro. I feel like my son practices 55 times a day. It's crazy. I'm back and forth.
More appreciation for your parents, I'm sure.
For my parents, because we had 3 of us who played sports, so I can't imagine running 3 kids around, back to back to back. But like I said earlier, I love to fish. I love to golf. I try and ride my mountain bike every day, or my road bike. I'll do the mountains 3 or 4 days in a row. Then I'll take a day off and jump on the road and do 45, 50 miles on the road.
How's that been going for you? I mean, you're still a pretty big guy, right? Like, I mean,
so I weigh 250. I haven't touched the weight shit, I don't even know, probably 6-7 months.
Really? Just riding a lot?
As long as I don't get fat, I'm good to go.
There we go.
So I'll ride my bike and I'll burn, 1,500, 2,000 calories. And I really like to eat. So that's why I ride my bike so much, because first of all, I like to listen to my headphones and ride and just pedal. And I like to eat what I want to eat.
I love eating too, man.
Me too. That's why I ride my bike so much, because I love.
No, but listen.
He's different.
I've been around a lot of college football players. He eats like a lineman. I swear to God, I'm like, it's unreal.
As long as you can get away with it, keep doing it.
It's crazy. It's bad.
And it's gone in a set. It's gone in a heartbeat too.
It is
like
gonna
unbelievable.
That way forever. Enjoy it while you can, because it won't be that way. That's why I have to ride 50 miles a day to get that damn food off me.
I remember in high school, my dad used to get so pissed. He'd be like, "Anthony, stop eating with your eyes."
Bro, you don't even
Stop
breathe.
eating with your eyes.
You don't even breathe.
Well, and that's how I was weighing like 225 in high school when I played football.
Oh,
I was
you're
weighing
good size.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we were fat boys back in the day.
I was 195 pounds my senior year, and I was 6'4", 195.
I was 5'10", 220,
Yeah,
I think.
I was like
Holy
5'8",
shit.
5'8",
Yeah.
225.
Yeah.
I was playing
You guys
the
are
end.
thick.
I worked on a farm. Yeah, I was a
So
farm
did I,
boy.
but I still didn't gain any weight.
I was eating a lot of chicken tenders. I was in my mom was a single parent, so it was a lot of like, go to the store and get some food for yourself.
Yeah, I ate what I could, man. We just, it was different when I grew up, but man, you guys were thick.
See, I find it
Yeah.
hilarious because I laugh when I hear like from other friends, like other guys in the NFL or like other friends we have athletes and they're like that played pro and they're like, dude, how the hell were you that big in high school? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're huge, and they're like, dude, I wish I could have been that big in high school. I'm like,
In
really?
high school, yeah.
I mean, it was pretty common for like the offensive and defensive line to be like 250, 300. Yeah.
In high school?
In high school.
I
yeah.
guess
not a strong 250, 300 though.
Yeah, but it's just like a sloppy.
Yeah, like a I'm just gonna get in the way type of
Yeah, that's all you
280.
need. In high school, you got you take up two guys doing that. Our biggest guy in high school was probably 210, 215 pounds. He was probably 5'9", but he was not
Really?
tall. But he was a good center. But yeah, we just.
I played
those
center.
pluses and-
I played center at 220.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
You'd have been great in New Mexico.
Yeah, really? Fuck, dude.
Damn, dude.
Damn. And I was living in New York. I was like, this isn't even a good football state, and I can't even play. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was trying
My son's team, they got like 4 guys over 300 pounds on the offensive line.
What? Jesus.
These dudes, they had a kid go to Washington State last year. The quarterback went D1 the year before. They got some big dudes up there, man.
crazy. I think
Stressful when your kid's out there playing against these big fuckers.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Stressful.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know better than anybody.
So he plays corner. So I don't really get nervous at football games. I know when I played, I was excited. When this dude plays, because he plays corner. So every play, it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's like, what's gonna happen?
It's 3rd and 12. I'm like, oh, man, what are they going to do? Come on, cover 2. Please run cover 2. It's stressful, man. Plus, he was a freshman last year playing varsity. So I don't
You got to like be by yourself on the stands. Are you pretty quiet, like to yourself, or are you out there?
Word. Yeah, unless he does something that I'm not fond of effort-wise.
Mhm.
I know he's going to mess up, the other stuff, cool. But if I see him not running, there's going to be some talking. There'll be some yelling then. That's about
Especially at corner, you know?
it. You got to run.
Yeah.
Charles Tillman ran. This dude probably run 50 miles a game. He ran across the field every play. He was never loafing. I'm like, where the hell did you come from, Charles? You guy ran deep. You're already back here at the ball. What are you doing, man? And you watch the film, and the guy never stopped running. That's what I want him to do. I'm going to show him some film of Charles and what he should be doing.
That's great.
And I hear corner is one of the hardest positions.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know.
I've heard from.
How hard is it to guard the guy in front of you? What's so hard about that?
True that.
I'm kidding. I'm glad I don't play corner. I mean, man coverage is stressful as hell. You better have a good D line.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, wow, man, this is.
I'm like
this
fascinated.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so
how skinny I was in high school. What are you fascinated about?
yeah. Oh,
Just the
so I mean,
we're here talking about these.
well,
things, it's amazing.
I want to like. Oh God, now I'm having a brain fart. Of course.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, trust
I'm
me.
like number one brain fart. I'll have a good train of thought and I'm like,
I'm the king of it. I'm the king of it. And of course, we have a podcast, story of my life. But I mean, how does it feel for him? Like knowing. I mean, I guess probably I should ask him. But has he like sat there and ever talked to you? Like, it's getting to learn from you the game that you made a career out of. How
a little more now. Like I said earlier, in the beginning, he was like, "You're a dumbass." He wouldn't say that, but the way he looked at me, I was like, "This dude doesn't think I know what I'm talking about." So I just leave him alone. And now more so, the older he gets, we do have some good talks about strategies on defense, leverage as a corner, where to force the football. Like he has his coaches out. And I said, just do what your coaches tell you. If you have a question about it, we can talk about it, but I want you to play their defense and what they teach you to do. Now, if I don't agree with it, or we don't, you don't like what you're doing, come talk to me and I'll try and talk some sense into you as to why you should be doing that. But he's a smart kid, when it comes, well, for the most part, he's smart. Football wise, he's, he wants to understand why he's doing certain things, which is good. He's getting bigger. He's 5'10", 170. So he's going to keep putting weight on, hopefully. He's bigger. So when I was his age, I was like 5'8", 130.
130? Wow. Really? Wow.
Well, okay, 135. I wasn't big.
I mean, you came in as a safety, you said, right? So, like, when did you really start to put on size?
My freshman year, I finished my freshman year at 235.
Okay. So once you got on that meal plan, you were good.
Yeah. So in high school, I went from football to basketball to track. And so I never had a chance really to gain weight. I always worked out, but I never had a chance to gain weight. And then my freshman year, I went from football to lifting to eating to eating and spring ball, and just kept doing that. So I gained like 40 pounds my freshman year of good weight.
What event did you run in track?
I did everything, dude. I did the hurdles, the relays, the 1, the 2. I qualified for 7 events for state track meet my senior year.
Wow. No wonder why you're so athletic.
That's crazy.
No wonder why you could run around the field. Wow.
I ran to Mexico. There was a lot of fast people in New Mexico. So
what was your speed?
What do you want to know? Like my 40 speed?
Yeah.
Or like my 200 or my hurdles or my long jump? What do you want to know?
We'll know all of them.
I wasn't fast. I probably ran like a 22 flat 200, my 100, maybe 11. I don't think
fast. Either of us are running a 22 200.
You know what I did is I started all the relays. I could come out of the blocks flying. So I was a good starter for our relays. I started the 4x1, the 4x2. And we won state my senior year at the medley relay. I ran the first 200. Awesome. So, but all my individual events I sucked at.
Yeah.
I'm tired. You got to do the prelims, the finals, and shit, man. Doing 5 events is wearing you out.
How hard is that compared to like football? Like, would you say that it's really hard?
I didn't like it.
No,
I don't like it.
So the reason I did track is so I could stay in shape for football. I mean, it's a natural, you do it, you try. I told my son the same thing: run track, you're gonna get better. But I damn sure didn't like it, man. It made me better at football, but damn, it sucked. I hated running, man.
Yeah,
football is different because it's a different kind of shape than track. You go from football, it's a different shape than basketball. Same way. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, when you go from football to basketball, like, oh shit, I'm out of shape. You're not, but you're not in basketball shape.
Right. Different movement patterns, a little bit different energy system. Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a strength coach, track and field was the best, right? Because it's all number based and it's individualized for the most part.
Yes.
Football, we would go in there and be like, okay, well, some people, like, we didn't do that well this week, and like it's your fault because they weren't in shape, and you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean it was my fault? Like we did 3 sets of 3 power cleans, and then we like foam rolled. It was your game plan. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't your game plan, the guys beat. It was my fault.
Yeah. It was the fact that we did. Yeah. It's rough.
I have the tightest IT bands in the history of life. And our strength coach make me damn foam roll those things I hate it. God, it hurts so bad. My hamstrings, my quads. Ugh, I hate it.
When did they actually get you to start foam rolling? Because I know earlier on in your earlier career, that wasn't that big of a popular thing.
I didn't stretch, dude. So probably 2004, 2005. I was like a cheetah my first few years. I could, do you ever see a cheetah stretch before it gets some food? No, it just goes. That was me until I pulled my hamstring. And then I was like, shit, I got to do something different. And that's when the Bears hired Rusty Jones from your Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Rusty was in Buffalo for like 20 years.
Legend.
And we hired him. He changed my career, man. He got me flexible. He got me eating better. Got me thinking about – because I ate what I wanted to. I never really thought it was an issue until he got there. And I just changed my whole philosophy on how I was going to treat my body and stretching and all that stuff.
I mean, how did training change from the beginning of your career in the NFL, like the strength and conditioning side of it, to when you were retired? Because over the course of that 13 years, like the field has made a tremendous.
You were in a time period. There was a lot of involvement in training
for sure,
and conditioning.
And there's even more now. I feel like it's less. So when I first got in the league, it was lift as much as you can, push as much weight as you can. Do as many reps with as much weight as possible, just like it was in college. You want to do as much you can, but then at some point you got to start thinking about staying healthy. All that weight on your back or on your chest is probably not great for your joints and your ligaments. So from that point, from the beginning to the middle to the end, just more so staying healthy, lifting to get more flexible and still get stronger, obviously, but stay on the field. That was the number one thing as our strength coach always tried to do is keep us on the field. We're going to get better in the offseason, no doubt about it, but stay on the field. You know what the lift that helped me the most is power cleans. I did power cleans my whole career. That's the most explosive lift. It's in a full body lift. It's the most explosive lift you can do. My favorite lift as well.
Love it. Yeah.
I remember in high school too with those coaches, like, more weight. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, get your ass down to the
pounds on your back and do a squat. That's smart. That's good for my knees and my lower back.
Yeah.
I was the same way. Though. I wanted to do as much as I could.
Hey,
I tell my son now, I'm like, don't put over 350, 400 pounds on your back, man. It's
well, especially as a linebacker, super important that your ass can touch the grass. You were definitely in that position a lot.
Well, how about these guys benching like 450? But how often are you out there bench pressing guys? You're not. You play football with your hips and your ass.
Right.
So
well, and you're also not pushing. Like you're not really. Most of the time, you're probably not trying to push the guys away from you. If anything, you're trying to keep them in tight.
It's more like trying to slap them off you all the damn time. So I was a big leg guy in high school and college, man. I did. My upper body was never super strong, but I could power clean a shitload and I could squat pretty good as well.
Right. Probably why you were such a great part of the reason why you're such a great athlete. It really does come from the hips. Yeah,
explosive. Power cleans are explosive as hell.
I miss those days.
So you really don't. You don't touch weights at all? Is that because like I know like Mike Tyson says like he doesn't really work out because he feels like he's going to turn back into that savage again. Like, is that the same thing with you, or you just feel like you want to try to different?
I just don't have a desire to lift weights.
He doesn't like it anymore.
Yeah, I just don't feel like there's a reason for me to go in there and try to compete and get more cut up or, my body is what it is right now. I don't want to get fat. I tell you, I don't want to get fat.
That's
I
right.
still have I got a 4-pack. The bottom two are not there. I got the top 2 rows. That's good enough for me.
That's for
at 250, I would take a 4-pack for sure.
That's for the Naples trips. That's for the Naples trips,
bro. You don't have to worry about it.
I know. Hey, that 5'6", that's it. I'm like 5'10" and a half. All right, my license 5'11".
Wait. You gotta give me my 2 extra. Remember, I'm 5'8" and a half. You gotta give me my 2 extra inches and a half.
With your heels on, with those Pumas. So you've been doing a lot of mountain biking and a little bit of road biking. What made you get into that? Was it just like, okay, I got to do something, or?
Well, I was hiking one day. There's mountains back here behind my house, and I was hiking. So what I did when I retired was I'd get on the treadmill and I had to walk on an incline for half an hour. That was my cardio. Good times. So I needed something different because it's so damn boring on the treadmill. I can't. Elliptical sucks.
I'd rather put a bullet in my head.
It sucks. So I started doing some hiking back here behind my house, and I saw this guy on a bike. I was like, and he had these big ass fat tires. I was like, ooh, that's a badass bike. I said, whoa, what are you doing back here? What give me some, there's trails, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah. So I went to the bike shop the next day and I bought a bike. And that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And now I have 7 bikes.
Wow.
And dude, it's addicting for me because it's also competing. There's this app I'm on. You compete against yourself and other people for that day.
Okay.
And it's just, it's fun. I guess I put my headphones on and I just go. It's a blast.
You have like a crew that goes with you? Like I used to train a couple of competitive cyclists and they go in like, packs of 5 and stuff on the road.
On the weekends on the road, I'll ride with my buddy Robert, but I like going by myself. I don't like talking when I ride my bike.
So do you have in the app, you have in your username on the app 54 so people know that it's like
Brian, you. That's
Brian, that's great.
And there's a picture of my dog as my
I love
that's great.
Whatever it's called.
That's perfect.
I love it. No, that's awesome. Yep. Would you ever catch yourself doing any kind of like competing in person with anything of what you're doing with any of your training, actually joining something?
No. Oh, I got asked to be in a couple bike races, mountain bike races. So I'm a rock crusher because I'm 250. So my weight class is considered a rock crusher on a mountain bike. So a lot of times they do these duo races where they need a guy who's fat at 250, so I can be their rock crusher. I just haven't done one yet. With all the stuff happening the last year, they haven't really had any races, so I haven't had a chance to do it. But I do want to do it. But I'd be nervous, man. I don't know how to like tempo. Like, do I just go fast the whole time?
I would say no. I would say. I mean, I'm not a huge cyclist myself, but I would probably suggest and say probably not. Probably don't.
But if I'm doing like a team race, everyone goes their distance. I mean, when I'm on there, I'm going to go as fast as I can, so I don't get behind.
I mean, if you're each doing 50 miles though, then maybe not.
50 miles. Well, maybe on the road. That's not bad on the road. But
no, that's not bad on the road.
20 miles on the mountains is a big deal.
Yeah.
I did 23 this morning, and
damn.
But I take break after every 7 or 8. I'll take a break and just drink some water and think about some shit. So yeah, it's fun.
Now, I do want to ask you this because I think it's obviously really impressive the fact that you've continued to keep yourself in shape, keep yourself active, and also as well busy doing something that makes you happy. Because you do hear stories from guys who retire and they let themselves go, their weight, their mindset as well. Like, how do you really mentally, how did you prepare for that? And like, what are some of the things that you've seen that have held some of these guys who retire and puts them into this hole?
So I think that, like I said, the routine, the sudden change of your life, as you go from having to work out, or if you want to be good, you're gonna have to work out, and then not having to, and maybe that desire leaves a lot of guys. But there are also a lot of guys, like one of my old teammates, Olin Cruz, weighs 240 right now. Olin played at 300. Wow. He might even be less than that now. And there's a lot of great stories, but there are some stories of guys who go the other way. And I think the not having to work out, and you never watch what you eat when you play, you just eat because you're going to burn it off. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But for me, riding my bike is like therapy for my mind, man. I can get out there and ride my bike for 2.5, 3 hours. I'm just thinking. I'm not talking on the phone. I'm not texting. I'm just pedaling, which is enjoyable to me. And in Arizona, man, it's beautiful. The mountains are everywhere. The sky is always blue. The weather's good. Summertime gets a little warm. I got to go a little earlier, but I still try and get my 25, 30 miles in a day, even in the summer.
Yeah, you got that dry heat out there.
That's right. Yeah. We love the dry heat. I don't like
we'll take that humidity.
Exactly, that suffocation.
I don't like that.
Did you feel the difference when you would come play in Miami?
Hell yes. Well, imagine playing in Chicago. So we played there on a Thursday night in November, 2010. Dude, it was in Chicago. It's like freezing. We go down there. Luckily, it was at night, so it wasn't as bad. But you definitely feel the difference. And we played a preseason game there too one year. It's just humid, man. It's just blah.
Well, now they kind of like sheltered the sidelines. They like put like a little dome thing over
the new stadium up there.
Yeah, and the new stadium. But before, like if you were sitting in the stands, I can imagine the same thing on the sideline. Like, whoo, you had to like keep putting sunscreen on. You're gonna get sun.
You can't hide from the humidity either. That's like in the dry heat, you can find a shade tree and be like, okay, but in humidity is gonna find you're gonna get sweaty no matter what.
It's funny you said we were talking about this because I remember every time I go to the games, I would always see the away team had like extra fans, extra water, like coolings for their pads. I'm like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy for not used to the Florida weather.
Tampa used to be in our division early on in my career, the NFC Central, before it went to the NFC North, and we go down. We had we play them home and away. And early on, man, we going to Tampa stunk. It was just so humid and hot. And they always had
over there
jerseys. Too. They're smart. They always put us in our dark jerseys.
Wait, so they pick. That's how they would pick. Well,
the home team picks what color jerseys they want to wear.
Interesting.
Crazy. I didn't
They're
know
smart.
That.
Yeah.
I do the same thing, man.
I would do the same thing too.
Yeah, any advantage you can get.
And then same thing now with Miami having to put the shades up. They were saying if you don't guys don't put the roof up, there's no Super Bowls for you.
Yeah.
So,
really?
Yeah. That was the reason why they put it. That's why this guy Stephen Ross had to put it.
That.
Yeah, and it was also part of too because of the rain. One of the big things was because of your guys' Super Bowl.
Because of our game.
Because of your game, Super Bowl game. That's one of the reasons why Miami never got a Super Bowl again until
after that. A couple years ago they got it right.
Yeah, two years ago.
To the Chiefs. Yeah. So it was crazy.
I'm glad we could help the Chiefs out.
Yeah, we you're sorry, Jesus Christ, I can't talk.
Spit it out.
Long day. I know that we're short on time here, and we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got to go pick up your daughter. I know Mendes has a couple questions he wants to ask you rapid fire before we wrap things up. Before we do that, I just want to say one last time. Thank you again, Brian. Super cool getting to talk to you, getting to know a little bit about your personal life and the things that you got going on post-football.
Yeah.
Always good.
Well.
Yeah,
always. I appreciate you having me. You guys got some good questions. It's fun. Just like you sort of know what you're talking about too, which is good.
Try to a little bit, try to. We only have like a couple actual, one-liners we throw in there about football, and that usually allows us to get through.
Right?
Yeah. We're going to get off tangent pretty easy. What's your questions there, Mendez?
We got you. All right. Number one, what was your biggest play and favorite play in your career?
Oh, man, easy. So 2006, we played at the Jets, and we ended up winning the game 10-0. So I'm going to give you do you want me quick, or you want me to just tell you the whole story?
You can tell the story.
You can tell it.
So they're on the 8-yard line going to score. We're up 3-0 in the game or something like that. Chad Pennington's a quarterback. We're running cover 2. I opened up to the right, and I knew he was throwing it back left, and I kind of tried to bait him, and I broke left, and I picked the ball. Sweet-ass catch, by the way, for me. I picked it off, ran it back like 45 yards, and and we beat them 10-0. It was a shutout, but they're already in field goal range there at that point. For me, it's one of my close plays because I had pretty good hands. You know, I kind of debated the quarterback a little bit, ran it back 45 yards, but more importantly, it preserved the shutout. So that was cool to me. And I'm sure there's other more cooler ones, but personally, that's my favorite play.
Now,
That's
after
awesome.
this, I'm going to go YouTube and look it up.
I know.
Yeah.
And you beat me to it. I was about to ask you if you had some good hands.
And dude, I got sweet hands. Really good. I should have been a receiver. First of all, I should have been a quarterback, then maybe receiver.
Really?
We'll talk about that next
Also,
time.
you got an arm. You got an arm.
I got a rocket, dude. You should see this. My son when we play catch, he's like, dang.
Did he ever battle out in practice playing around with some of the quarterbacks?
Oh, we would play. We used to play this game where 10 yards apart. This is 2. This is 1. First 1 to 10 wins. Win by 2. Every day. That's all we do. I'm sorry. When the offense is out there doing their stuff, we would do that on the sideline as defensive guys. It's a blast. On Saturdays, we play with the quarterbacks every once in a while.
Awesome.
I didn't beat them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, they're probably a little good at that, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Question number 2. What was the craziest and wildest experience you ever had in your career?
Shit, man. Craziest and wildest. I don't know, man. I came from Leventon, New Mexico, a town of 8,000, and I ended up in Chicago, a town of 8 million. That's pretty damn crazy right there, bro.
That is crazy.
It's wild.
But craziest, the coolest thing was winning the NFC Championship at Soldier Field. The NFC Championship trophy is the George House Trophy. That's what it's called. So George House was our owner of the Bears and our team. So to win that at Soldier Field in 2006, when it started snowing, they came out and presented us with the George House Trophy at the end of the game. That's pretty damn cool, man. That was one of the coolest moments, I think, of my playing career, just to receive that trophy at Soldier Field with Miss McCaskey, who was George House's daughter.
That's awesome.
Wow.
On the podium. It was pretty damn cool. So
That's
it's not
incredible.
crazy, but it's pretty cool.
It's impactful for sure.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
No, that's definitely awesome. So next question for you, final one. What is the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today in one sentence?
Man, that's a good question too. So I was always a big advocate of having fun at doing whatever it was I did. It's hard, I think, to do it all the time because some people don't like their jobs. I get that. But if you can find some kind of enjoyment in what you're doing, I think you'll be a lot happier person. I really love going to work every day. Obviously, I play football. It's a little different, but man, I enjoyed going to work every day. It was so much fun for me to be there with my teammates, my coaches, my friends. If you can find any enjoyment in what you're doing, I think that's a great thing. It's not always easy to do, but try and find some positiveness and enjoyment in what you're doing, whether it's working or working out or, try whatever it is you do, try and find some kind of enjoyment in it. I think you'll be a lot happier person.
Love that. Especially now in today's world, even more.
It's so easy to turn negative, man. People especially social media is the worst thing ever happened, man.
Yeah.
It flips on you so quick. It can be great, obviously, but it's also, you get the other side of that as well. It's not great. So
how you use
just
it and view it.
try and be positive, I guess.
Yeah, people got to do more of what you're doing. Go outside.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we live in good spots to be able to do that. I
Amen.
love going outside. My kids are the same way, man. We're outdoor people.
That's great. Well,
Hopefully one day we can catch you down in Naples fishing.
We'll get you hooked on a 40-pound amberjack. You have no problem with it. We'll get it on the
he's
right
got some muscles. They're hiding under here somewhere.
It doesn't matter how big your muscles are.
Right?
It's all about technique.
It's leverage. Yeah. All right, man.
Yes.
We appreciate you. Thank
Appreciate
you again, Brian.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
guys.
brother.
Take care, man. We'll see you.
All right. Until next time, everybody.
See you.